The agent was involved in a car accident on a mission. When he woke up, he found himself in a mysterious forest. Not only had his phone and wallet been lost, but his colleague who had been driving was also missing. However, the pain in his head forced him to put aside these questions for the moment. He cautiously made his way out of the forest and arrived at a strange little town. Seeing the odd glances from passersby, the man decided to seek help at a restaurant.
You're in Wayward Pines, Idaho?
Unbeknownst to him, he fainted immediately after asking for help. When he awoke again, he found himself lying in a hospital bed. Strangely, when Burke inquired about his condition, the nurse's explanations were vague, as if she were deliberately withholding information. Similarly, Burke noticed something unusual about the hospital. Despite its size, he was the only patient there, and there were no communication devices, making it impossible to contact the outside world. Burke quickly got up to escape, but was stopped by the nurse, who warned him not to leave.
Move your foot.
Ignoring the nurse's warning, Burke had no idea that the town held even more bizarre and terrifying secrets. Later, Burke went to a tavern and borrowed a phone from the clerk, Amy. However, no one answered any of the calls he made. Reluctantly, Burke hung up and left. But then Amy handed him a note with her address on it, saying that since he had no money, he could contact her if he needed help. At first, Burke didn't pay much attention to it, but the words on the back of the note left him stunned. After leaving the tavern, Burke heard the sound of crickets in the nearby bushes. He followed the sound and discovered a small speaker playing the sound of crickets. This terrified Burke, so the next morning he went to the address Amy had left. However, the house was extremely dilapidated and did not appear to be inhabited. At first, Burke thought he had encountered a scam, but when he opened the door, he found a decomposing body lying on the bed. What shocked Burke even more was that the deceased was his colleague who had gone missing a few days earlier. To clarify the situation, Burke hurried back to the tavern to look for Amy, but the owner told him there was no such woman in the store. This left Burke stunned, perhaps due to the strange events he had encountered recently, combined with the brain damage from the car accident. Burke finally collapsed. When he came to again, his limbs were bound to the hospital bed. The doctor explained that his brain had suffered severe damage and an emergency craniotomy was necessary. But Burke knew he wasn't sick. Despite his desperate struggles, he couldn't break free and was even injected with a sedative by the nurse. He was then wheeled to the operating room door. With his entire body bound by chains, he had no chance of escaping.